What's up everybody, my name's Big Cam and welcome back to another spooky season movie review, and today we are talking about 1997's Scream 2. And this movie is 2 years older than me. I was born in 99, so this movie is 28 years old, I think. That could be wrong. No, I think my math checks out there. But Neve Campbell, in the first film, I think I liked her a lot more. The second film, obviously, it's a sequel. They're harder to make. I like how there's like, they're like film students in this, like Randy, coming back from the first movie, and he, you know, they talk about how hard movie sequels are to make, and they're like, what's a good movie sequel? And I think the ones that come up were T2 Judgment Day, Aliens, both James Cameron, Empire Strikes Back doesn't count because it's episode 5 of this bigger thing, but it is also kind of the sequel. Comment below, what's the best sequel you've ever seen? But Scream 2 does a really good job coming off of Scream 1 and, like, you know, having the vibe of like knowing what it is. Like, it's a slasher film, it's a horror film, it's campy, but it's also got like this vibe of like, you know, it's so meta. Like, they're telling, like, there's a movie called Stab, which is pretty much the events of Scream 1 put into a movie, which is like kind of what the real world does, you know, just like Netflix and the monsters right now. They're doing, you know, Dahmer and Ed Gein and these guys that were terrible fucking monstrous human beings, and they're making them sexy and making these TV shows about them and, like, you know, publicizing it and making it, you know, profitable, rather than letting those families that were attacked and destroyed by Ed Gein and Dahmer, let them have their grief, you know. Instead they're like putting it on their Netflix, like, hey, watch this all over again. Like, what? No, like, it's crazy. So, you know, obviously people like Neve Campbell, poor Sidney Prescott here, is like, there's a movie coming out, there's a book coming out all about the events of like my friends getting killed in the first film. Of course I'm not really here for this. And Gail Weathers was the obnoxious news anchor in the first film, played by Courtney Cox. She's coming back for this. She's like the reason the movie's getting made, and all of a sudden there's a new Ghostface killer, and he's, you know, trying to recreate and copycat the events of the first film. And, you know, now getting into some spoilers, or, you know, if I do get into some spoilers for people that don't want to know, you know, please back out. But, like, you know, I thought this was a really, really good idea. Just to go over some of the rest of the cast before I really get into some spoilers. David Arquette's back as Dewey. Jerry O'Connell's in here as a new boyfriend. I really, really was like, this guy's in. He's, you know, just like the first movie where it was her boyfriend. I was like, it's gotta be the boyfriend. I really had him as, like, I had him pegged for a while, or I had my eye on him at least. I was like, he's got to be the killer, I think. But Jerry O'Connell, I know from Kangaroo Jack growing up. Anybody watch Kangaroo Jack growing up? Come on, anybody? Just me? Okay. Kangaroo Jack, still funny-ass movie. I haven't gone back to rewatch it, but growing up, I loved that film. Timothy Olyphant was just in Alien Earth as Kirsch. Really love Timothy Olyphant. He was also in The Mandalorian in well, might be in The Mandalorian and Grogu, but he was in The Mandalorian season 2, I think, or maybe even Book of Boba Fett, one of the two, and he played Cobb Vanth, and he was kind of a cool character in that as well. Randy's back. There's a character called Debbie Salt, who's like a reporter, who's maybe not a reporter. We'll talk more about her in a second. Haley McDaniel, which is like her new roommate in college, is played by Elise Neal. Sarah Michelle Gellar's in here as Cece Cooper. Poor Sarah Michelle Gellar. She is married to Freddie Prinze Jr. in real life. Sarah Michelle Gellar also played Daphne in the Scooby-Doo live-action movie, which I loved. Liev Schreiber, who I believe was in the first movie for just like a brief second and got wrongfully arrested. I don't remember that, but he was in the cast list in the first movie, so I was like, it must have happened. But he's back as Cotton Weary. I definitely thought this guy had a little bit of screws loose in his head and was the killer. Maybe he'll come back to be a killer in a future film, though, but dodged the bullet in this film. I was like, I thought he was the killer for sure, but maybe not. Jada Pinkett Smith gets killed real early in the film, and, you know, just Jada Pinkett at this point in time in 97. But boy, oh boy, all these years later, seeing Jada Pinkett Smith die at the beginning of the movie, I didn't feel bad for her at all. I was like, that's an entanglement. Fuck her, bitch. Omar Epps, who I love, and he also gets killed in this movie. Pretty devastatingly at the beginning of it. And it's like, this movie, you know, they even like comment on it. They're like, black people always die first in horror movies. And then those two die first in the horror movie. And it's like, oh, black people do die first in the horror movies. God damn. Even when they're Omar Epps and Jada Pinkett Smith, you know, not necessarily small names. Maybe in '97 they were, but like now, today they're not. You know, like even Omar Epps is still doing stuff. Like he was in Power a couple years ago, and he was a really great character in Power Book 3, Raising Kanan. Great show. But, you know, I think it's a genuinely good movie. I really enjoyed the first two Screams, enough so that, like, I'm going to go watch Scream 3, maybe even tonight, you know? Like, it's a really rainy, shitty Monday here in Massachusetts when I'm recording this, so I'm like, might be that kind of day to, you know, maybe smoke a little joint or something and sit back and sit near the window and hear the rain smack against the window and watch a scary movie. I love that vibe. I love the vibe of watching a movie with rain in the movie while it's raining. Oh God, that might be my heaven, honestly. Like, just for example, like a movie like Seven, where it's like raining the whole time, and then you watch that rainy movie during a rainy day where it's absolutely pouring outside. You're not going to go outside and just get wet, so you're inside watching a movie where they're getting wet, and you're just like, you feel like you're there, you know what I mean? Like, absolute vibe for me. Comment below what's your favorite vibe to have when you're watching movies, and comment below some spooky season recommendations. But overall, Scream 2 gets a 3.5 out of 5 stars from me. The first film I gave 4 out of 5 stars. That might have been a little too high. I might have, you know, maybe started too high because there is like 6 of these films. So I wanted to have like a, you know, a place to start and then go from there. Honestly, I think this second film might be a 4 out of 5 stars and maybe better than the first film. I certainly liked it more than the first film, but also the first film's so iconic and so well done. And like, I liked the killer of Stu and the other kid. Like, I saw that one coming a little bit more, but I was like, you know, I got the story a little bit more in the first one. With the second one, it was like they're trying to recreate the magic of the first one. But I thought it was really, really well done for a sequel and just really creative how they did it. You know what I mean? And it seems like this guy, when he was doing the first Scream film, he had the idea for all 4, you know, right away. So, I don't know. Comment below if you're a fan of the Scream films. I'm definitely going to carry on Wes Craven's work into Scream 3. And, yeah, Neve Campbell, maybe she's better in the third film. I don't know. She was good in the second film, but I think she was better in the first film. Courtney Cox, much better in the second film, though, than the first film. And then, like, you know, spoilers, Timothy Olyphant ends up being the killer. At a certain point, though, in the beginning, I was like, yeah, he just seems like a kid in class with them. He doesn't seem like the killer. And then, you know, at a certain point, he hasn't been around for a while. You know what I mean? You haven't seen him, so I'm like, huh, real convenient. You haven't seen Timothy Olyphant in a while. Then all of a sudden he unmasks himself as the killer. And it's like, of course you haven't seen him in a while. He's been under the mask, you know? But, just like the first movie, the killer always has a second partner helping out with the killings. And this time around, it was the reporter Debbie Salt, which I did not see coming in the slightest. Who Debbie Salt played by Laurie Metcalf. I didn't see Debbie Salt getting confirmed to be Billy Loomis's mother, who was the killer in the first film. And, you know, she wants revenge for what happened in the first film. And she's one of the killers, and she got Timothy Olyphant's character of Mickey to be the killer and, like, you know, brought him to school and, you know, like, put these ideas in his head to, like, be a killer. And I don't know. Interesting. I definitely saw Timothy Olyphant. I like was like, who's the killer? I think it's Timothy Olyphant. But like the whole time I had him as like my choice, I was still like, ooh, Jerry O'Connell as Derek, the boyfriend. He definitely could have been the killer in my mind. In the same with Liev Schreiber's character of Cotton Weary. Both of them, I was like, they could have been the killer. And I have a hunch that Cotton Weary will be back in future films and will be the killer then. Because that boy is not all right in the head. Like he was, you know, he kind of like, you know, has a saving moment in this movie. And it just, I was like, nah, there's something wrong with that boy. But Liev Schreiber, I know as Sabretooth from X-Men Origins Wolverine, Ray Donovan. He played Kingpin in the animated Across the Spider-Verse or Into the Spider-Verse movie. I really liked him in that as well. But Liev Schreiber's a great actor, great voice, great jaw. Yeah, great guy. But overall, for me, 3.5 out of 5 stars. Really, if I had to give it a true 10 score, it's probably somewhere around a 7.8, 7.9, maybe even an 8 to an 8.1. Slightly better than the first film, but currently on my scoring for my Letterboxd, Scream 1 is sitting at 4 out of 5 stars, Scream 2 is sitting at 3.5 out of 5 stars. Might change in the future when I do this franchise rewatch eventually, probably next Halloween, because I might have to make these Scream movies something I do every Halloween season. I'm enjoying them that much, you know what I mean? So, on to Scream 3, comment below if it's a good one, and if you're excited for more Scream movies to be made. I think Scream 6 got made like 2 years ago, didn't it? With Jenna Ortega. But I'm certainly here for it, so more spooky season movie reviews coming your way. Make sure you guys comment below if you're excited for that. And comment below which is your favorite Scream movie. I'd love to hear that and chat more Scream films with you if you'd like to talk more spooky season in Scream. My other social medias are linked in the description below. Go send me a message on my other social medias. Thank you guys so much for sticking around. If you would like to support the channel, the best way to do that is liking this video, commenting down in the comment section below, subscribing if you haven't already, and hitting that bell so you don't miss future spooky season movie reviews and you get the notification the next time we're talking about Scream. And once again, my name's Big Cam. Thank you guys so much for dropping on by, and I will see you beautiful people in the next one. Peace!